Hello, my name is Jennifer Yaffe. I am a developmental pediatric fellow at Einstein Montefiore, and I'm going to be talking about a project I've been working on called New York Acts. New York Acts is the New York unit of a nationwide project called Act Early COVID-19, which was developed to reduce the impact of COVID-19 on young children's development. It is an offshoot of the CDC's Learn the Signs, Act Early campaign. The Act Early COVID-19 program is funded jointly by the CDC and AUCD and is running from September 2020 until 2021. I was invited to join the program in November by a doctor that I work with through my fellowship. She, alongside another team member, had received the grant to represent New York State on this nationwide project. To provide some context, the original campaign, Learn the Signs, Act Early, is a long-standing program run by the CDC that aims to improve the early identification of developmental delays and disabilities by increasing parent-engaged developmental monitoring and ensuring children and their families have access to the services and supports they need. Simply put, it helps parents and other caregivers learn the signs of typical development, referred to as milestones, and act early on concerns by talking to their doctor and getting their child evaluated. Why is this important? An estimated 1 out of 54 children has autism spectrum disorder, and 1 out of 6 children aged 3 to 17 has a developmental disability. Autism can be diagnosed as early as 18 months, but the average age for diagnosis is 4 years of age or later. Due to delayed identification of developmental issues, too many children are missing the opportunity for early intervention services. The COVID-19 pandemic and its mitigation efforts have resulted in the closure of community centers, daycares, and preschools. It has reduced face-to-face visits with medical providers and put strains on families that have put young children at a higher risk of developmental delays and decreased their chances of being identified and treated appropriately. The purpose of this project is to address these concerns by advancing the promotion and distribution of existing Learn the Signs, Act Early tools, materials, and programs to families most affected by COVID-19 and its mitigation efforts. And in doing so, promote resiliency for children, families, and communities. Our team consists of the 2 New York State CDC Act Early ambassadors and myself. We are partnering with existing state-level programs and systems with interests or mandates in child development who are already serving low-income and disadvantaged families with young children. This is a list of the state-level programs that the New York team is working with on the project. The programs highlighted in orange are the ones that I'm specifically involved with: the New York State Education Department, the Office of Children and Family Services, and the Office of New Americans. Some of the tools and resources available through Learn the Signs Act Early that we are hoping these programs will improve their distribution and promotion of are a developmental milestones tracker app, board books for children, developmental milestones flyers, and videos about typical development trajectories. All of these resources are available in multiple languages. In addition to these resources, New York Acts is encouraging programs to incorporate Bright by Text into their outreach. It is a texting service that sends positive parenting tips, activities, and resources to parent subscribers for free. The programs have conducted a needs assessment survey regarding their current outreach efforts, including barriers to delivering resources to families and opportunities for improvement. Based on their needs assessment, we have helped them to create work plans to integrate Learn the Signs Act Early and Bright by Text resources into their existing activities in a sustainable way. The outcome will be measured and changes will be made as needed in order to improve gains and ensure sustainability. I wanted to provide you with a sample work plan to illustrate what steps we are planning to help these programs achieve their aims. This work plan is a draft from the Office of New Americans, a government-sponsored program that provides newcomers to America with support, including access to medical and mental health services and assistance navigating the education system for immigrant families and children. The program is aiming to improve families' knowledge of developmental milestones and train staff on developmental milestones and how adverse childhood events or trauma can affect a child's development. To do so, the program has developed 2 resources: a book for families incorporating Learn the Signs Act early materials, and a guide for providers on how to help families access services for a person with intellectual or developmental disabilities. Additionally, the program will train its staff on developmental milestones using the Learn the Signs Act early videos. The program will keep track of materials distributed and poll staff on the knowledge they have gained about these topics. This will help ensure that the project is effective and sustainable. I, alongside the New York team, have been meeting regularly with the programs to provide general guidance and share resources and ideas. We have also been meeting individually with the programs to go over their needs assessment and develop their work plans, which are now complete. We have ordered the Learn the Signs Act early materials needed for distribution by programs, and we are beginning to schedule any training or information sessions requested by the programs for their staff. We also meet bi-monthly with the Act Early COVID-19 leadership to share our progress and get support. How has this project improved my leadership skills? Collaborating with stakeholders and being part of a nationwide meetings between state teams has allowed me the opportunity to work with people from a wide range of disciplines, including medicine, government, education, and nonprofit organizations. I have learned a great deal about the variety of state-level programs serving families with young children, how these programs function, and how they've been impacted by COVID-19. I have seen how partnerships between communities and professionals can bring much-needed services to the families most affected by the pandemic. Finally, the project has allowed me to reflect on my career goals and has opened up possibilities for my future that go beyond the traditional clinical role. Thank you everyone for your time and attention, and I'd like to open it up to questions.